3 of them are dead. One was Carol Burnett's daughter, gone at 38. Another fled Nazi Germany as a child, only to die quietly in Los Angeles 60 years later. A 15-year-old girl showed up on set with a secret marriage nobody knew about and became the biggest pop star on the planet.
All the time. Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
You remember this show. You remember the leg warmers, the dancing in the hallways, the theme song you haven't thought about in 20 years. But what actually happened to the cast of Fame? Grab your Nestle Crunch.
Crunches when it crunches.
That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
I bet some of this you've never heard. Lee Curreri, the piano kid who did the math. Let's start with the guy who was there from the beginning, Lee Curreri. Born January 4th, 1961 in New York City, he played Bruno Martelli, the quiet keyboard genius
I just don't think our tits are up to it.
in the original 1980 movie, then came back and did it again for 6 seasons on television.
I talked to my pop about it, and we decided that...
One of only 4 cast members who made the jump from film to series. That's rare. That's loyalty. Behind that loyalty was a paycheck that might surprise you. $3,000 to $5,000 an episode. Sounds decent until you remember agents take 10%, managers take 15%, taxes take 1/3, and you're living in 1980s New York. Lee said the money went fast. Not drugs, not parties, just the math of being a working actor in an expensive city. But here's the thing about Lee. He wasn't just acting. He was composing music for the show, writing arrangements, playing live on camera. No faking, no hand doubles. The kid was the real deal. And when Fame ended, he didn't chase Hollywood. He went back to the piano, became a composer, a producer, built a quiet life in music, the kind nobody writes headlines about.
Amo la canzone.
He's 65 now, still working, still playing. Net worth? Modest. The piano prodigy who argued classical versus pop on screen now composes the soundtrack of his own life. No fortune, no scandal, just the work.
What's it like to be so new?
But the woman who played opposite him, the one everybody thought would be the breakout, she took a very different path. And it started with a part she didn't even get. Valerie Landsburg, the rejection that made her. Valerie Landsburg auditioned for the Fame movie. Didn't get it. Most people would have moved on. She came back and auditioned for the TV series and landed the role of Doris Schwartz, the neurotic, funny Jewish misfit who became the comic heart of the entire show. Seasons 1 through 4 plus the finale. The girl who couldn't get the movie part became the one everybody remembered. And she didn't just act. She wrote an episode. She directed an episode. On a show where most of the young cast were still figuring out which camera to look at,
to be Daddy's little princess and Mama's pride and joy.
Valerie was already thinking about the other side of the lens. When she left after season 4, it wasn't because she failed. It was because she'd outgrown being in front of the camera. She went into directing, producing, writing.
This is so cool.
Built a career most people never saw because it happened behind the scenes. She's still alive, still working, still showing up at reunions with that same energy. The awkward kid who couldn't get the movie part directed her own happy ending.
When I first got there, I was introduced by 2 wonderful teachers.
Now, you want to talk about somebody who actually escaped something? Not a bad audition, not a tough break. Real danger, the kind that follows you across an ocean. Albert Hague, the man who outran history. Albert Hague was born Albert Marcuse on October 13, 1920, in Berlin, Germany. Let that land for a second. A Jewish boy born in Weimar, Berlin, 13 years before Hitler took power.
Now, a dream came true which I never happened to dream.
His family got out. A lot of families didn't. He came to America and became a Broadway composer, won a Tony.
You're born, you weep, you smile, you sleep.
Built a life in music that had nothing to do with television. Then the Fame movie happened, and they cast him as Benjamin Shorofsky, the stern classical music teacher who thought rock and roll was noise and Mozart was God. He was 61 years old when the TV series started.
The first man to discover music eventually came out of the cave.
The oldest person on that set by decades. On screen, he battled Bruno over synthesizers versus symphonies. Off screen, he was warm, collaborative, quietly brilliant. The European immigrant who carried the weight of a continent's worst century in his bones, standing in a Hollywood studio arguing about pop music with kids young enough to be his grandchildren. His wife, actress Renee Oren, died in 2000. Albert followed her on November 12, 2001. Cancer. He was 81. Net worth? Nobody published a number. The stern classical maestro who escaped real tyranny
In the theater in particular, which used to be my expertise,
died with his fame melody still playing. Not one headline. Speaking of people who left fame for something bigger, there's one cast member who didn't just leave, she exploded. And the story of how she got there starts with a secret that nobody on set was supposed to know. Janet Jackson, The Secret Marriage and the Escape. Janet Demita Jo Jackson, born May 16, 1966 in Gary, Indiana.
What if I saw one of those mushroom-shaped clouds out there?
She didn't audition for fame. Her father pushed her into it. Joseph Jackson, and if you know anything about that family, you know what that means.
I wanna make my own decision.
Janet was 16 years old, and she wanted to make music. Joseph wanted her on television. Joseph won, for a while. She joined season 4 as Cleo Hewitt in 1984. Strong, independent black female student.
Doing my homework or something.
Good role. But here's what was happening off camera that nobody was supposed to know. Janet had secretly married James DeBarge. She was 18. He was deep into addiction. The marriage was hidden, annulled within a year, and Janet carried that weight onto the fame set every single day. Sometimes she was late, sometimes she was somewhere else entirely. Nobody could blame her. She left the show. And then she did something that almost never happens in entertainment. She took a side role on a modest TV series and turned it into the launch pad for one of the biggest music careers in American history. Control. Rhythm Nation. Janet. Hundreds of millions of dollars, global superstardom. The reluctant teen forced into acting by her famous father became the one who outshone the entire show. She's alive. She's 59. Her net worth dwarfs everyone else on this list combined. But money doesn't fix everything, and the next person on this list proves that in the worst possible way. Carrie Hamilton, the funny girl who ran out of time. This is the hard one. Carrie Louise Hamilton was born December 5, 1963 in New York City. Her mother was Carol Burnett. Carol Burnett, the funniest woman in America. The woman who made your mom laugh until she cried every Saturday night. That was Carrie's mother. Carrie joined fame in season 5 as Reggie Higgins, the quirky, comedic, aspiring actress.
I'm working with the band. We're trying to get a record deal.
Are you?
Yeah, please.
High energy, quick wit, you could see her mother in her.
Mom, we're leaving you.
But behind the comedy was something nobody was laughing about.
I missed my mama, and I missed your llama.
Carrie had been battling drug addiction since her teens. Hard drugs, the kind that eat you from the inside. Carol Burnett went public about it, one of the first celebrity mothers to do so.
Mom's traveling and working and was writing her book and...
Because she believed silence was killing her daughter. And it worked, for a while. Carrie got clean. She fought her way back. She did theater, real theater. The kind where you earn your applause 8 shows a week. She toured with Rent, and people said she was extraordinary. She wrote plays. She acted. She married a man named Mark Templin in 1994. She was building something that looked, for the first time, like a life that might actually hold. And then the diagnosis came. Lung cancer.
Where you need to go, and I have a lot of different roads that I like to travel.
She was in her 30s. Complications from pneumonia followed. On January 20th, 2002, Carrie Hamilton died. She was 38 years old. 38. Carol Burnett lost her daughter 10 weeks after Albert Hague died. 2 famed cast members gone within 3 months of each other, and most of America didn't even connect the two. Carrie's net worth at the time? Modest. The funny girl with the famous mom who battled her own demons and left the world too soon. Her laughter still echoes in every fame reunion. The chair stays empty. Stay with me.
Okay.
Okay? Sure.
Because the next story is quieter, but in some ways, it's worse. Because at least Carrie had people around her at the end. Morgan Stevens, the teacher nobody checked on. Morgan Stevens was born October 16th, 1951.
I thought with a week's worth of rehearsal under his belt, there'd be some improvement.
He played David Reardon, the drama teacher, starting in season 2. Handsome, grounded, the kind of guy who made the faculty scenes feel real. On set, he was a mentor figure, steady, professional, the adult in the room.
Friends, the idle brain is a devil's playground trouble.
After fame, he kept working. Melrose Place, guest spots, writing. Nothing that made noise. The kind of career that keeps the lights on, but doesn't keep your name in anyone's mouth.
That she's a real beauty.
He was handsome enough to have been a leading man, talented enough to have had a longer run, but television is a machine that chews through faces, and Morgan Stevens' face got chewed through quietly, the way most of them do.
I don't know, I assume they just thought that I was on something, I don't know.
On January 26, 2022, Morgan Stevens was found dead in his home. He was 70 years old. Cause of death? Arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. His heart gave out. The details around the discovery were quiet, the kind of quiet that tells you nobody was checking in often enough.
Never mind pumping any water till your parents are caught with a cistern empty on a Saturday.
The teacher who guided young stars on screen passed alone. Net worth? Modest. No estate headline, no viral obituary. The man who played the mentor didn't have one when he needed it most. Most people don't know that story, but they definitely know the next name, even if they've forgotten she was ever on Fame. Nia Peeples, 5 marriages and still standing. Varinia Gwendolyn Peeples, Nia to everyone, was born December 10th, 1961 in Hollywood. Literally born into the industry's zip code. She joined Fame in season 4 as Nicole Chapman. Singer, dancer, the whole package.
I'm not full-blooded anything. I am really a red-blood American. I have everything on me.
After the show, she built one of the longest post-Fame careers of anyone on this list. Walker, Texas Ranger. TV hosting, music, acting jobs that kept coming for 3 decades. But here's the part most people don't talk about. Nia has been married multiple times. The exact number gets debated, but it's north of 4. Each one a fresh start, each one another ending. You want to know what Nia Peeples' real talent was? Reinvention.
And that's APL, not APPLE. APLfoundation.org.
Every time one chapter closed, a show, a marriage, a record deal, she started another one. Most actors from 80s TV got 1 second act if they were lucky. Nia got 5 or 6. She kept moving, kept working, kept showing up. That's not luck, that's grit. She's 64 now, still working, still reinventing. The voice that soared on Fame became the soundtrack for a career that outlived the series by 40 years. The marriages didn't last, she did. Erica Gimpel, the one who walked away. Erica Gimpel was born June 25th, 1964 in New York City. She replaced Irene Cara's character from the movie, stepping into the role of Coco Hernandez, the breakout part, the one everybody watched. Biracial singer-dancer with enormous talent and vulnerability. She was 17 when she started.
But you've got to honor like the training, because to sustain for the amount.
And then, after 3 seasons as a regular, she left. Walked away from the role most actors would have clung to. She wanted bigger stages, different stages. She found them. Profiler, ER, music, directing.
I'm calling Dad on myself and I'm trying to make sure I'm getting connections. I'm like, Dad!
A career built not on one character, but on the refusal to be defined by one. Most people who leave a hit show disappear. Erica didn't disappear, she multiplied. She's 61 now, private, still working, net worth modest, but legacy secure.
I definitely have a lot of respect for boxing. I think it's you got to be an incredible.
She proved something the show itself always preached, that real talent doesn't need one stage, it finds every stage. And then there are the ones who didn't need a bigger stage. They just needed a different life. Cynthia Gibb and Billy Huffsey, the ones who moved on. Cynthia Gibb, born September 14, 1963 in Great Falls, Montana, raised in Vermont. She played Holly Laird.
This audition process I was in 5 times.
The Midwest dance major who brought wide-eyed innocence to the New York Art School. She left Fame for films, Youngblood with Rob Lowe, Salvador with James Woods. The movies didn't make her a star.
The modeling was something I didn't take seriously at all. It was something, first of all, I'm not 5.
She raised 3 kids. She teaches now. The spotlight was brighter off-screen, and she seems fine with that. Billy Huffsey played Christopher Donlin. High energy, flashy, the guy who danced like the camera was a mirror. After Fame, he kept performing, kept moving, acting, music, coaching, podcasting.
By being in sports all my life since I was little.
He shows up at every reunion with the same grin. The flashy performer who danced through Fame now coaches the next generation. Both of them alive, both of them modest, both of them proof that a quiet life after television isn't a failure, it's a choice. Ken Swofford, the principal's final bell. Kenneth Swofford was born July 25, 1933 in Illinois. He played Principal Quentin Morlock.
Excuse me, why is everybody picking up on me?
The authority figure, the rule enforcer, the guy who kept the chaos from swallowing the school. A veteran character actor who'd been working since before most of his castmates were born. He stayed through the entire run, did voice work after. Guest spots, the kind of career that fills a resume, but not a tabloid. He died in November 2018 at 85. Health decline. No headlines. The no-nonsense principal who kept the kids in line.
Exactly my point, Miss Persky.
Life reminded us even authority figures face final curtains. Modest estate, quiet exit. Carmine Curreri, from Fame's softest dad to Hollywood's most infamous leak. Now this one will surprise you. Carmine Curreri, born January 23, 1934 in New York. On Fame, he played Angelo Martelli, Bruno's father, the warm Italian dad, the working class guy who didn't understand his son's music but loved him anyway. Fatherly to Lee Curreri on set, gentle, kind. Offset, Carmine had another career entirely. He was in The Godfather Part 2 and Part 3, mob movies, tough guy roles. But here's where it gets strange. In 2004, Carmine Curreri became the first person ever expelled from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Ever in the Academy's entire history.
I'll do for the hearing impaired.
He'd been sharing his screener DVDs, the advance copies they send members for Oscar voting, and copies ended up online. Piracy. The softest dad on Fame became Hollywood's most infamous leaker.
They were testing everybody for this part.
He said he didn't know the copies were being distributed. Maybe he didn't, but the Academy didn't care. Out. First person in history. He died May 28, 2019. Net worth modest. The mob movie tough guy who played the softest-hearted dad on Fame, proving even gangsters melt for their kids. And even good men make strange mistakes. Jesse Borrego, the open call kid who never stopped. Jesse Borrego was born in 1962 in San Antonio, Texas. He walked into an open audition and landed a role on Fame in season 4. Jesse Velasquez, the street-smart Latino kid with real talent. One of the few Latino faces on network television in the mid-80s.
When she looks at me.
That mattered. That still matters. After the show, Jesse built one of the most respected working actor careers of anyone on this list. Blood In, Blood Out.
I don't need permission from you. He's my carnalito.
A film that became a cultural touchstone for an entire generation of Latino viewers. The kind of movie that doesn't win Oscars, but gets quoted in barbershops and living rooms for 30 years. Then came 24, ER, theater. He never stopped. He never had to reinvent himself because he never stopped being good at the original thing, showing up and doing the work. He's 64, still performing, still showing up. The open call kid from Texas who auditioned his way into Fame and never stopped performing the role of a lifetime, his own. And now, the last one, the one I keep thinking about, because everyone else on this list either left or died or got famous or got quiet. This woman did something none of them did. She stayed. Carol Mayo Jenkins, the teacher who never left. Carol Mayo Jenkins was born in 1938 in Tennessee. She played Elizabeth Sherwood, the English teacher, the literature teacher, the woman who believed words could save you. 5 seasons plus the finale. She was there from the beginning, and she was there at the end. Most of the kids came and went. The teachers stayed.
There is a lot of comedy in the play. It's very funny.
When Fame ended, Carol didn't chase Hollywood. She went back to Tennessee, back to the University of Tennessee, back to teaching, actual teaching, not acting like a teacher on television, standing in a real classroom, grading real papers, shaping real students who would never know her from a TV screen. Think about that. A woman who spent 6 years pretending to teach went home and did it for real. For decades. She's 87 years old, still alive, still connected to the arts.
One of my favorite lines is, "The Bolsheviks."
The teacher who graded papers on set now grades the next generation of actors. Fame's quietest star, still shaping the craft decades after the cameras stopped. Net worth modest, legacy immeasurable. You look up the Fame cast then and now and you get neat little side-by-side photos, smiling faces before and after. But what actually happened? The secret marriages, the addictions, the deaths at 38, the teachers who went home and kept teaching, the dad who got expelled from the academy, the refugee who escaped the Nazis and ended up arguing about pop music on a soundstage. That's what we just spent the last 15 minutes on.